our scene opens as the box, the item that you were in the process of stealing, explodes in a vibrant blue light, brighter than any light you've ever seen in your lives here in the dark, perpetually dark Duskwall. You were all flung off your feet with sudden violent force, slamming down with the air completely knocked out of you. Your eyes were kind of squeezed shut from the brightness, but behind your eyelids you saw the light begin to fade. And as the light fades, you're able to open your eyes again. You hear shouting as more militia are being called over, attention drawn by the explosion of the box. Some militia members that were standing with you are standing up. None of you are injured from the explosion, but you felt the pain as you were slammed down onto the ground itself. You all hear Harlow coughing, as she's the first one to kind of be able to draw breath to do so. Standing up, Harlow has kind of pale skin, dull freckles covering the bridge of her nose. She wears tattered clothes with tape and leather straps, and there is one leather strap across her chest and her waist that holds a vial pouch at her hip. You see, it kind of focuses on that pouch for a moment. We see two of the vials are empty, but two of them have some sort of swirling liquid inside. And she has dark brown hair with one side shaved, the rest pushed over to the other side. It's a choppy mess right now, after the explosion. She's pushing herself up. As she stands, she holds kind of her sore ribs and winces as she tries to get her footing after the explosion. She's looking around, coughing again, and then she immediately is scanning all of you to make sure you are moving, sees a little bit of movement with all of you, and then immediately rushes towards Ephid.
Turk, I think, pushes himself up off the ground. The hat at his head, it's kind of hanging off of his neck on the cord, but like in the front now, he throws it over his shoulder. He has the coal black hair that's always kind of slicked back and looks very wet. It's all over the place. It's kind of hanging down into his eyes as well. He sweeps it back out of his vision, and his very high, like stubble-covered cheekbones look a little more hollow, and his eyes look a little more panicked as he tries to take in what the fuck just happened.
Yeah, and Turk, as you're kind of looking around, you see that cube has landed like directly in front of you. It's no longer, the symbols aren't lit up or anything. It's very dull. It almost looks grayer than it was before, but the cube is at your feet.
I think he looks down at it and then looks around for anybody to tell him what to do.
Perfect. And then the camera kind of swooshes over to Gracie.
So Gracie is just under 6 feet, thick shoulders, thick arms, short hair slicked back. Her face is a mess, even more so now because she is covered in mud and just grass and all sorts of things. Her vest and suspenders are a little askew, her shirt dirty. And as she pulls herself up, she looks for the box, sees it at Turk's feet, and just shouts, "Get it!" And then goes to pull Finn up and get everybody out.
I'll grab it.
All right, we see Turk reach down, grab onto the box, and the camera like follows Gracie over to Fishgut as you're being pulled up. Who do we see?
Fishgut is this very long and stringy individual. Her sandy blonde hair, which is previously fairly cleanly braided back to stay out of her face, has come untangled after the force of not one but two blasts of something and then something else. She is picking herself off the ground, but then she notices that the file of documents, of shipping and receiving slips that she had stolen from the storage room of the Capitol building has kind of fallen out of the front of her waistband and is kind of spilled out in front of her. So before she stands, she's kind of trying to push these papers back into the folder to take those with her, and her eyes keep glancing back towards that dirty, muddy basement that the group had escaped from. That was Carter. Do you think Carter's gonna be okay after that?
You hear Harlow yell, "We don't have time for that! Go! Everybody get the fuck out of here!" And Harlow is grabbing onto Ephid and helping them up. Who do we see?
Ephid is kind of a smaller person. They're maybe like 5'1" at most. They've got long, stringy, dark hair that's kind of constantly falling in their eyes. If it weren't for the little beanie on their head that's way pushed back on their head after the explosion at this point, and they're kind of pulling it forward. Wide nose, big brown eyes, gap between their front teeth, high cheekbones kind of smattered with freckles, and dirt and mud now. They've got kind of a small scar across their cheek that looks puckered, like it might not have healed correctly the first time. They've got on kind of like a ratty shirt and vest, pants that are a little too short. And as they're kind of scrambling to stand up with Harlow, their left leg kind of buckles a little bit and they scoop up 2 forearm crutches that are kind of like an amalgam of started as crutches maybe for a kid and have now been welded and smelted and soldered and even just like tied on so that they have grown as Ephid has grown. They had a bunch of stuff in like vest pockets that they'd kind of just like picked off of random boxes down in the cellar, and like pieces of things are kind of scattered around, and they like grab like a full handful of mud that has most of the stuff in it and just shove it back in their pocket, and then fully grab onto their crutches and kind of stand more firmly.
Yeah, so there's this moment where we see everyone, a complete mess, standing up after this, grabbing items. We see Fishgut trying to scoop up some of these papers, some of them destroyed with mud, some of them definitely not going to be readable after this, but trying to pull them forward, and Gracie finally just pulls Fishgut up. You take the handful that you have, shove those in your folder, and what would you like to do? More militia are sprinting over. You see some of them, as they see you, they stop and they begin bringing up their rifles.
Run. Get going. And I will stay as far back, like the back of the pack, but just shoot everyone ahead of me.
As Fishgut is being pulled up, she kind of looks to the militia members who are coming forward. You don't want to be here. You don't want to deal with us. After that, whatever that was, they're going to take you in and question you, ask you what you saw, the same they'll do for us. You want to get out of here too. So turn around, put away your weapons, and get the fuck out.
Okay, what do you want to roll for this?
Sway?
Go for it.
4. Actually,
Okay.
You know what? I want to push that
Sure.
to see if I can get a better one. So I will mark 2 stress and roll a 3rd dice. Oop.
And throw
Okay.
a 3rd dice, you mean, onto the floor.
Doesn't make things any better, so we're gonna get a 4.
Okay. It doesn't seem to convince them necessarily. You see they hear what you're saying, and you see it grants you a little bit of time, as there's a little bit of hesitation as they are looking toward each other to kind of see where they stand with each other. So they're not quite going to shoot yet, and that grants you just a little bit more time before they're going to fire off a shot. You feel Harlow shove you from the back and just say, go!
I suspect we'd split up, right? Because some of us can run better, some can stay and fight, some can climb buildings and shit. So I
Yeah, I was gonna
imagine
say-
we've like got a routine.
Turk's not purposefully trying to leave anybody behind, but he's also not sticking around.
Ephid is beelining for Fishgut, just so that they're closer together.
I think there is a moment where Harlow and Gracie are still just standing there. Harlow has shoved Fishgut. Ephid, you're coming up to Fishgut. Turk is taking off, and I think Gracie and Harlow kind of turn towards the militia members, but you see none of them are close enough. And they're all drawing their weapons, so there's this moment of like, Gracie and Harlow kind of need to make a decision. Are you wanting to stay behind to fight some of these off, or are you also running?
I'm running, but I'm running loud. So if anyone's gonna chase someone.
Okay. So I think we do see that there's a moment where Harlow and Gracie kind of like duck down a little bit as the first shot is cracked off, and both of you look to each other and turn to see the group running away. We see Turk going one direction, and we see like Effid and Fishgut kind of moving in the other direction. And Harlow just says, "I got left," and takes off running towards one of the alleyways to the left.
I got right.
Okay. I would like for all of you to roll a d6 for me.
6.
3.
Bye.
Don't worry, everybody. I'll take good care of your stuff.
Okay, so I think the first thing that we see, we watch Harlow go left and we watch Gracie go right, and we see Turk sprinting. I think you, am I right in assuming that you're kind of looking for a way to get up onto the rooftops easily? Okay.
Definitely.
So you are keeping an eye out for an easy way to kind of almost like parkour your way up to one of the rooftops, and you are sprinting through. You hear the sound of sprinting coming from behind you. Do you glance back?
Yes. Yeah, I'll look over my shoulder.
All right, I think you glance back. You see Harlow coming up behind you, but you also see 2 militia members right behind her as well. And I think as she runs, you then feel her elbow like slam into your side. And for a moment, I mean, you can think maybe whatever you want to think. Elbow slams into your side, and you are kind of flung into one of the alleyways. You slam down into the wall and like slam into a pile of trash. And she sprints a little ways past you and then skids to a stop. You see the 2 militia members stop kind of at where you can see them at this alleyway. You're kind of hidden in the shadows a little bit, and you just hear Harlow say, "Oh, hey, you come here often?" And one of the militia members, they have a pistol out, and they just bring it up and aim it at Harlow, and they say, "On your knees, filth." And she's like, "That's not very nice. You could at least buy me dinner first." And it's just panting. And you see them kind of slowly beginning to advance towards Harlow. What would you like to do?
Okay, why? Okay. I think, Turk is going to try to come out of the alley. He's gonna hesitate for the second at the mouth of the alley. And I think he's gonna clench, his eyes shut, like he's thinking really hard about what he should do in this situation, and I think shakes his head and sighs, and then sort of braces himself and steps out of the alley with a very sort of drunken sway to his step, and sort of like stumbles towards the militia members. And as he does so, he's going to be very loud, and he's going to say, "Hey, I'm going to say, excuse me."
There's this quick moment. The one with the pistol swings around and like aims the pistol at you. The other one is still attention on Harlow, but they're kind of like sandwiched by the 2 of you now. So there's this concern. They look over, they're aiming the pistol at you, and they kind of squint. "Hancock?"
He's not paying any attention to them. He's talking directly to Harlow. I just say,
Okay.
"You're going to say, excuse me? You just ran past me and knocked me over? You're not going to say anything?"
Making direct eye contact with you, there's this moment of like, what the fuck? But it's quickly kind of masked over, and she takes a step forward, completely ignoring the guard that's standing in front of her. And she takes a step forward. The guard kind of like puts up a hand, but she's not paying any attention to this guard, and she says, "I'm sorry, do we have a problem? You were in my way."
"You got a problem. You're just running all over the place, not watching where you're going, and you think that you could just... Did you know who I was? It's not important. Listen. And I think while they're like a little off balance, he is going to round on the one that is pointing the gun at him and try to take it away from him.
Perfect. As you're doing that, Harlow had a fistful of dirt and is throwing it into the other one's eyes. Okay, go ahead. And what sort of roll would you like to make for that?
I think hunt, because again, I'm surprising them.
Perfect.
4.
Okay. Do you want to add a couple stress and add another die?
Yeah, this would probably be a good time to do that. I will push it. 5.
Okay. So there is this moment, you both kind of move at the same time. You are trying to disarm him?
Yeah.
All right, I think you grab onto the gun. You're trying to disarm him. In that struggle, the gun does drop. It slams down into the dirt, but there's this other moment of he kind of like turns that on you as well, and you're kind of locked in. You're kind of holding each other's arms in this little lock. Harlow slams the dirt into the eyes of the other one. They immediately bring their hand up to their face, and as soon as they do, she punches first the hand to make them move the hand away, and then slams her fist into the side of his head, and he falls over in the other direction. With a 6, he is kind of knocked over, slammed into the wall, and is still trying to get his bearings. What's the next move?
I think Turk is gonna look at. Turk is gonna look over at Harlow expectantly and kind of like jerk his head towards the one that he's wrestling with. He's not a fist fighter. Like, the best he can do is hold him in place.
Yeah, there is this moment where you do that, and Harlow's just like, "What? You don't got it?" And then comes over and jumps up and puts in like a little bit of a headlock, and we see her kind of moving backwards. He lets go of you, slams her into the wall on the other side, and then we're gonna shift scenes. We see Gracie taking off behind Ephid and Fishgut. As you are moving forward, Fishgut, you see a militia member kind of like run out, hearing the commotion, run out of an alleyway that you are heading directly towards. You almost run into each other. You kind of like shoulder check each other and spin a little bit, but then this militia member sees you, sees Ephid.
It's over that way. You gotta go help.
Ephid's just trying to look small and scared and like as kiddish as they can. They are the youngest of the team, and they are trying to use that to their advantage to like be meek and scared.
Okay.
And at the sight of the militia member, Fishgut will, kind of playing into this, it's probably an act they've done before. Fishgut will like go kind of shoulder to shoulder with Ephid, kind of wrap an arm around their body, kind of making themselves look a little bit taller, and Ephid even smaller in this.
And Ephid will play into it even more and just like whimper and try to like make sounds like something scary like a kid does.
Okay. Fishgut, I would like for you to make a roll to convince this person. I'm going to give you an extra die for Ephid's assistance.
That's excellent. So this will be 3 dice for sway. And that is a 6.
Okay. So there is this moment, Gracie, as you're approaching, you're hearing this, and you see this militia member nod and kind of look off. They're turning to look in your direction. Are you staying in sight?
Is it like alleyways next to me, or I'll duck in aside.
Yeah, you push into one. They look off in that direction. They kind of see the smoke from whatever previous explosion happened, and they nod and they say, "Thank you. Get in your homes. There's a curfew." And they take off running in that direction.
Losers.
Every single last one of them. Now, look for there should be a like a manhole cover somewhere around here. We can maybe dip down into the sewers for a bit.
Yeah, I'll start like stamping around with my crutch.
Okay, so you are looking for that. Gracie, I think you hear, after that militia guard sprinted off, you hear some shouting. There's some voices, some information being exchanged. And then you hear like, "Damn it!" And you hear more footsteps turning around to come back into this direction.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
The first the first one that passes by like the football tackle into the wall on
Amazing.
the other side.
Amazing. I think we see this from like Effid's point of view. As you're looking for this manhole cover, you hear the tink, like you found this manhole cover, and you look up, you're like, I found it. And as you look up, you see like 6 guards running in this direction, but then Gracie comes out of the alleyway and just boom, slams into one of them, slams them into the other alleyway. You know Gracie's gonna buy you some time, but you gotta move.
Can't leave Gracie to fight them all by themselves, can we? By herself?
I think she's gonna be good. I really do. I've seen her fight. Bigger, dirtier bastards.
Okay. Can I, as we're like going down into the manhole cover, can I just like slide a vial across the floor to Gracie?
Sure. Do you want to tell us what that is later, if it's used?
Yes.
Cool. Yeah, so as Fishgut jumps down, Effid's kind of climbing in after that, grabs a vial and slides it. And as you're disappearing and putting the manhole cover back over, we follow the vial. As the vial is kind of rolling, it gets probably about halfway between the manhole cover and where Gracie is. But then we just see a punch just slammed and thrown, and we see one of the other militia members come up, grab onto Gracie from the back, and pull her off. Gracie, 1 against 6.
So I have my special ability that is not to be trifled with. I can perform a feat of physical force that verges on the superhuman, including, and this is the example they give, engaging a small gang on equal footing in close combat. So, I'm built
Amazing.
for this.
Yeah, so we see these like 6 militia members kind of like almost making a half circle near you, and you're kind of standing there, kind of shrugging off the previous hit. You bring up your fists, and then we switch back over to Turk and Harlow. As Harlow is just trying to choke one of these guards, the other one has finally wiped the mud out of their eyes, and they're looking up, and they spot the pistol on the ground. Turk, what's your move?
I was gonna say, I think I'm just gonna stick with this, but I was gonna say I think Turk tries to like kick the pistol up to him smoothly. But I'm gonna say that I was gonna say that he catches it, like he tries to snatch it, but he ends up catching it by the barrel, and then just sort of like tries to make the best of a bad situation, and then just tries to whack it across the face of the guy that Harlow is wrestling with currently.
Amazing. Yeah, I think the guy that reaches for it, you've already kicked it up. He slams down like onto your boot and then is still trying to just work mud out of his eyes. Kind of grabs onto your leg, like is attempting to hinder you in some way, but he's still so fucked up. You grab onto the gun and you swing to slam it across the other man's face. I would like for you to roll for this, only because it would be really funny if you failed.
Agreed.
Yeah.
What would you like me to roll? Because
that is an excellent question.
Hunt is really the only like fighting ability that I have, but if something else fits better, I'm happy to roll it. It's just probably not going to go well, which is fine.
I'm gonna have you just roll finesse.
Okay. All right. Yeah, it was kind of, yeah, it's mostly the same no matter what. But okay, so it's 2d6 and then the lower. Cool.
Yep.
Uh-huh.
That would be a 1 then.
Amazing. Let's see. Oh man. Okay. So there's this moment in a headlock. He's sitting there, he's trying to pull Harlow's arm away from him. He sees you grab onto the pistol and swing it, and he just lets go of Harlow's arm and grabs onto it. Grabs onto he's just reaching, fumbling, and is trying to pull the trigger. You hear this loud crack of the gunfire. I have this lovely little Fallout dice that chooses where an injury is going to be placed. And I'm gonna roll that right now. Okay. you... The bullet's just gonna graze your right arm. As you hear the crack, it's too loud at first. You don't even feel it, but then you feel a stinging in your right arm, and he's still trying to hold on to the gun itself. You're kind of in this struggle for it, and Harlow, seeing this happen, was caught off guard by it, and I mean, gunfire echoing off of walls is fucking loud anyways. And I'm gonna see. Oh yeah, she keeps a hold and she kind of like squeezes a little bit harder. He's much taller than she is, so she's having kind of a hard time getting a good angle at this. But after that gunshot, the other guy is kind of standing back up, ears ringing, sees the struggle that is happening. Where is your pistol?
I think I put it away
Okay.
after I shot at Carter.
Okay. In that case, I think this other guy is literally just going to try and strike at Harlow to get Harlow off of his buddy here. Comes back, punches Harlow in the face. Harlow immediately lets go, stumbles backwards. You see nose cracked and broken, just bleeding automatically all down her face. She stumbles back, kind of lands on her butt, and her eyes just watering from the punch to the nose. And then we switch back over to Gracie. What does this look like? What are you doing?
So I think they form their little semicircle, and Gracie just slips on a pair of, like, brass knuckles. And she just kind of stretches and goes, "Finally, it's a fair fucking fight. Let's go." And takes the first punch of whoever's closest.
Incredible. So your skill, like, mechanically, does that give you what does that give you?
So the way it is described is I take stress to push myself, and then rather than having a disadvantage of, not disadvantage formally, but like disadvantage of having 6 people fighting at the same time so they're all rolling, the way I understand it is like I'm fighting them as a group so they're one target. You know what I mean?
Okay.
Sort of like fighting a swarm of rats. You're not fighting each individual rat, you're fighting the swarm.
All right, so what are we rolling?
Oh, wreck. Definitely wreck.
I'm shocked by this. Go for it.
Yeah, I know. I don't know. Come on, Gracie. That's a 6. A 6 and a 5, in fact. Which doesn't mean anything, but is satisfying.
So I think there's this moment where after you slip on the brass knuckles, you step forward and like in the way of the camera, so the screen goes black for a second, and we start just hearing the sounds of punching, and then as the camera comes back in, just describe this scene as you are just literally like wrecking everybody here. Yeah.
A horde of people, yeah. Gracie is used to fighting in rings where there are no rules, and there are no rules here. And so we see her taking, like, random shots at people that are trying to get close enough to hit her, but because she's so freaking big, she has a much longer reach than a lot of them. She kicks, she elbows, she is ruthless and just kind of mind blank only punching. And as she starts to knock them down one by one, I think we get to see the fear start to populate on the last ones of, do I run? Because this is not okay. And it's just vicious. It is the unstoppable force that met the rock, and the unstoppable force won.
I think the last 2 people, they look at each other, and one of them moves forward for you. The other one turns around and heads back in the other direction. The other one's like, fuck this, no. But one of them does kind of move towards you, but they don't get close enough, like they learned from everybody else, and they just draw their gun. How do you disarm that one?
She probably just clocked one on the face that just fell down. So she's gonna reach down, pull up their hat, throw it in the guy's face, and then sucker punch him as it distracts him for a moment.
Awesome, and I think he does like fire. I actually rolled and I did not succeed. So as the hat is kind of blocking the vision, fires, it just goes wide into the alleyway, and right after the hat passes the vision is just a fist. Just right in the face, stumble backwards, slam down into the alley, and fall over. So you see the 5. If they're not unconscious, they're close enough. Some of them are like groaning in pain as they're laying around here. Where do you go next?
Did I hear the gunshot?
Yes.
Towards the gunshot.
All right, you take off running in that direction. Perk. I would just like for you to roll a d6 against my d6 to see which one of you gets this gun.
Okay. What'd you get?
What'd you get? I got a 5.
I also got a 5.
Shit. Okay. So you're both just still struggling for this gun, and I think the third person comes over, grabs onto it, puts one like palm in your face, and is just pulling, wrenches the gun from everybody else, kind of turns it around in their hand. They're bringing it up to you, and then Harlow's fist comes out of nowhere, slams into the gun. The gun falls into the dirt again, and the 4 of you are just standing there, ready again for the next round. What would you like to do?
I think in that case, I would like to do a better job this time. Much like Gracie, Turk has an ability. If I push myself, I can do one of the following, one of which is unleash a barrage of rapid fire.
Ooh.
So I think this time he's going to get it right. He's going to pull out his pistol, and now he's actually going to kick the loose pistol up into his other hand, and is just kind of going to like spin down into a crouch and just like shoot both of the guns at the 2 militia members as he does so.
I love that. So will that be 2 different hunt rolls?
Yeah, probably, I would think. I imagine it's sort of similar to the like fight a gang rules, how we handled that. So I'm happy to do hunt twice.
Sweet.
5 on the first one.
Okay.
And 3 on the second one.
Harlow is going to give you an extra die on that second one by grabbing onto one of them and like shoving them into a better, like they were a little too close to Harlow, so she shoves them in the other direction to kind of give you a better shot.
Amazing. And I mean, that brought it up to a 4.
Okay. So both Gracie, you are sprinting in this direction, and there's a moment where you're like, I wish they would shoot again so that I would be able to hear exactly where pop pop and you're like, oh, okay. Running off in that direction. The bullets hit both of them, but it's not a fatal wound. You see one got hit in the shoulder, the other one got hit like in the upper arm, so still, I mean, a dangerous place to get hit, but both of them kind of stumble backwards, one on one wall, one on the other, and then Gracie sprints out of one of the alleyways, and Harlow's like, finally! Where have you been? There was a habit.
Never mind, and I'll football tackle. The one on the right.
Amazing. And you slam into that one. I'm gonna give everybody like one more move here. How does this well, hopefully, unless you roll absolutely garbage. What's this last move you want to do?
The football tackle takes his head and slams it into the wall on the other side of the alleyway. If the dice agree. That's a 5.
Okay. What about Turk?
If Gracie has the other one, then Turk is just going to bring both pistols to bear from where he's kind of now in this crouch. And I think now that he's sort of lower and has like a moment to breathe out, he can steady himself more carefully. So he's going to basically just try to shoot the one that Harlow is still sort of near.
Okay, I think Harlow is like moving to punch this one, sees you like readying both pistols, and just kicks him right in the thigh. So that he then falls down and is like not really able to get up and run away.
Okay. 6.
Okay. The slam of the head against the wall and the gunshots are kind of simultaneous. One loud echo. Both militia members fall. And the 3 of you are left panting in the alleyway. Good job.
Yeah. Good shot. Let's split up and see you back there.
Yeah.
Don't go that way. There's a bunch of them.
And you're hearing, it came from over here, and people are sprinting in this direction. And I was like, ugh, and then just takes off, running in the opposite way.
I think Turk is going to sort of leap up and grab the edge of like a windowsill with his fingertips and pull himself up, and it is not as graceful or purposeful as parkour, but he kind of manages to get up top. Yeah.
Okay.
Gracie just spins and trots.
All right, and as the camera kind of comes up, almost like a, drone shot of the city there for a moment.
When was the last time you took a trip to the docks?
I mean, the fact that I'm hesitating probably tells you enough.
Let's go grab something to eat. Take something back to the group. And hey, as good a place as any to lay low, and God, I'm hoping we'll see Carter back there.
Yeah, they were pretty close to it. I wouldn't have let it go if I knew they were that close.
It's not your fault. You're doing what you needed to do for Gracie, and I told Carter not to get involved with this.
You know, Carter, they don't listen to sense half the time.
I think they're a big adult now, and so getting into trouble, the kind of trouble that I've been trying to keep them out of, but god damn it.
Well,
If I'm being honest, that's why I want to go to the docks.
That's fair. And if nothing else, then we can tell the other kids to just lay low for a while too.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. Should be a way out in a couple 100 feet or so. It'll get dark, so
I know.
keep a hand on the wall.
I'll follow you.
Just like old times.
Always.
All right, and then we see kind of a wide shot of the docks. We hear boats kind of hitting against the docks themselves. It's dark. It's still raining, but not as bad. And we see Fishgut and Ephid approaching these docks.
I think what Fishgut wants to do is find a stall with fish or something for sale, shove something down their waistband, steal it, and then go and find some of the kids that they know, kind of asking about, where's the big one? Where's the one who looks after you? Where's Carter? Have you seen them?
There's a moment, and you can decide how long you're looking, but the docks are empty.
Shit, this isn't good.
No. There's not. They're usually out. Even if it's late, they're usually out.
I've never seen it this quiet here.
Didn't that guy say that there was a curfew? Maybe they're all just hiding.
Oh shit, is it past curfew already?
I mean, I don't really... I'm still, messed up from that light. I can't really tell what's what and when and where.
I know, it's kind of hard to see everything. Fuck, it's probably past curfew. Shit.
We go home?
Okay.
Do we stay here?
No, we need to go home. We need to get back. They'll worry and they'll go looking for us.
Right.
Shit.
Stupid.
I shouldn't have brought us here.
No,
Is there
it was a
anyone
good idea.
moving around?
As you're looking around, yeah, you
Eva
can,
does.
either of you can roll that. You can both roll it if you want to.
Do you have something in it? Or...
No.
Okay, I'll go it.
I'll lend an assist on it.
Great, because that one was a 2. This one's a 4.
Okay. You're looking around. You're not sure if you saw someone there, because it's very dark, but you think you see a shadow kind of move to duck into an alleyway.
I'll kind of nod toward the alleyway. There's someone down there, but I don't know who it is. I couldn't tell. Do we want to risk it, or do we just go home?
I mean, I do.
Okay. Well, let's go.
Fishkit will start creeping in that direction.
Okay. As you head over, you gradually are hearing kind of shuffling. And as you approach the base of this alleyway and glance in, you see someone kind of digging through some of the trash at the side of this building.
Hey,
They jump immediately and kind of like turn back.
hey, don't worry, just and say hello, asking where everyone is. Is curfew already? Sorry, I'm super messed up today. I have no idea.
They just nod and are looking at you cautiously.
You got a name?
Depends on who's asking.
Fishgut.
They nod with recognition at the name. You can call me Lake.
Like, why aren't you hiding out with the others?
You were at the Capitol building, weren't you?
Nope. Never heard of it.
Yeah, well. We shouldn't have gone.
Why not?
It's now they're all either dead or captured.
What?
Did Carter come around trying to get you to do your first score or whatever they were calling it?
Yeah.
Fuck.
What do you mean, everyone?
I haven't seen anybody else since I got back besides you guys. There's gunfire everywhere. They're still hunting for people. And they kind of like look up past you.
Sloan?
They shrug.
Hud? All of them?
We all went.
You were there. Don't go back there again. And never listen to Carter again.
Unless they're talking about trios and pairs. That's good advice, but everything else. Wait. You like, not all of you went. Surely some of you stayed home. Some of you. But you didn't all go.
I mean, 100 coin.
Can't do you any good if you're fucking dead. They're captured. Let's hope they're just captured.
Man, we know the militias are fond of capturing.
More mouths to feed. Fuck. Here. Stop scrounging around. Go find someplace to sleep, because it's apparently past curfew. And let me know if anyone else comes back. Makes it back, alright? You're gonna
Sure.
take one of these sheets of paper, and Fishgut kind of rifles through the documents that she grabbed, kind of grabs something that doesn't have much text on it, and then kind of like pulls a pencil or like a nib of charcoal out of her purse and kind of shoves it in the kid's hands. You know how to write, right?
Yeah.
Okay. You're gonna put it in the bottom of the fish stand at the end of the quay, all right? Don't come looking for me, just write anything I need to know on that.
All right.
Go back.
And take this.
Should we
Yeah.
go back and help?
We're gonna do something for him. We're not gonna go back now. Because we need to make sure we need to make sure the others got out. But then we're gonna do something for him.
You see a light in the distance of guards coming this way.
Okay.
Lost Lake.
There's nod and take off in a almost silent sprint as you see their bare feet against the dirt, moving pretty quiet.
Back down.
Okay.
Turk scales the side of the building and gets to the top and moves a few roofs away just to get some distance, and then kind of like crouches down before just like full on falling into sitting, kind of just catching his breath, and then checks his coat pocket to make sure he still has the cube.
Yeah, you pull that cube out of your pocket.
I think he stares at it for a second, just kind of holding it in front of him. He turns his head and he looks in the direction of the Capitol building. And then he turns his head and looks roughly in the direction of the hideout. Bites his lip like he's thinking really hard. And gives a big sigh, kind of lets his head fall forward, puts the cube back in his pocket and says, "Fucking idiot." And then starts making his way towards the hideout.
All right. I think, Gracie, you are the first one to make it to the hideout. You head up the stairs, you walk into like the big, basically like a loft area that you're using for a home for all of you. You see the couch that is missing 2 legs and is slanted. You see Harlow's sleeping bag. You see the windows with moth-eaten curtains. It's really quiet in here right now.
Gracie will change into not basically like a tank top, and just kind of in the rain wash everything out. And just try to get rid of any blood anywhere. And stand at the window looking out for anybody. Paying particular attention to sewer grates, because I assume we know which ones they usually use, and the rooftops, because I trust Harlow. Don't know if I trust everybody else. So I just stand watch.
And I think Harlow comes in next. Doesn't bother cleaning up just yet. The nose has stopped bleeding, but there's so much blood covering the front of the face and the clothing. Harlow just walks over and slumps onto the couch and just puts a hand up, feeling how swollen the whole face is from the broken nose. She's just kind of like playing around with that. This isn't the first time she's had a broken nose, but this one's fascinating enough. And she just waits, trusting that you're keeping good watch at the window.
I don't think we're even yet. What's my count at? Like 4?
Shut up.
That's 3 for you, right?
Shush.
You think, still looking at the window, you think I did right giving it to him?
We're gonna find out.
If it doesn't come back, I'm gonna break its face.
He'll come back. I hope. The I hope is really quiet, but still there.
It's a bit
I
of a
think
fucking mess.
a bit of a fucking mess.
A bit.
Mm. And then she starts looking at her hand as if trying to see if there was anything that happened to it when the cube exploded in it, but she was kind of looking at it. There's too much blood from her nose, and she can't really tell. And then I think Turk is the next one to arrive.
Yeah, I think that makes sense. And he would come in through the window, sort of just lower himself down off of the roof. And possible that Gracie would have seen him coming since she was keeping a lookout. Um, Lowers himself in and, like, gives them both kind of a nod, but, like, walks past them into the room, takes his jacket off as he's going, and then just fully takes the shirt off and starts, like, trying to clean the cut on his arm from where he got nicked by the bullet. We have, like, a water barrel or something that we keep.
Yeah, and I think upon seeing the actual wound itself, Harlow kind of gets up and tosses a roll of gauze over to you.
Nod in thanks and start just, like, wrapping it up, and he'll kind of incline his head towards where he just sort of hung his jacket over the back of a chair. It's in there.
Nodding. Harlow's far too tired to really care at the moment, but is nodding. Good. Any sign of the others? As you're
I
looking
haven't
out the
seen
window. Yeah, Gracie, you're not seeing them, but you are seeing almost like flowing from the Capitol building. You're seeing militia moving out from the Capitol building and looking around.
Yeah.
And
If they're not out already, no lamps are lit, no candles, nothing. We want to make this as inhabitable, you know what I mean, as possible. And look as abandoned as possible.
We're not going to get to rest. We're going to
Yeah.
have to do something with this thing.
And sleep with your dead.
you hear distant gunfire in various increments. Each one, Harlow gets a little bit more uneasy as Fishgut and Ephid are still not back yet. And you wait. And I think it's close to 2 hours before Fishgut and Ephid arrive. I will say within that time, on your way back, you were able to kind of stop by a merchant and sell the few goods that Ephid was able to swipe. Enough to at least get you some food. So you'll be bringing back a little bit of food for everyone. What does it look like as Fishgut and Ephid make their way upstairs?
To anyone still keeping watch, I think they probably see one of those familiar manhole covers kind of twist open, and then the two pop out from, below and make their way into the abandoned building, trying to catch as little notice as possible.
I'm gonna meet them at the door and block it. Whether it's like a broken piece of furniture or something, just to stop it from opening easy.
The hell are you doing, Gracie?
Give us a couple extra seconds. Get upstairs, Hallow's worried.
All right. Thanks.
Take them all out.
Of course I did.
That's pretty cool. And then Ephid reaches into their pocket where like the handful of mud had been and just pats Gracie on the side of the face with a muddy little hand.
Thanks, I think. Wipes it off.
Goes upstairs.
As Fishgut and Ephid come in, Harlow finally like gets up off the couch and just walks over and just kind of pull both of you into a little hug. You just see blood, like she still hasn't cleaned up, but she just comes over and hugs both of you. God, it took you a while. Is everything okay?
We went to the
We're
docks.
okay.
Yeah. You want to tell them? Yeah, me neither. Docks is always a good place to lay low, and it was empty. Emptier than it should have been, even past curfew. Turns out Carter got this idea in their head that, hey, this could be my chance to score, whatever the fuck they were thinking, and so pretty much all the kids from the docks who think they're adults now tried to hit the Capitol, and now pretty much everyone who went is captured, or let's hope they're captured.
Well, if they're captured, let's hope no one tells anyone where we are.
We gotta move, right?
Move to where? They're all over the streets.
Oops. You go tops. Top hops.
We have the thing. Who's the buyer?
You didn't see anyone at the docks?
I ran into some kid I hadn't met before. Lake was the name. They're gonna leave me a note if anyone comes around. So I'll go check back in maybe 2 days, if I can. Sure as shit not leaving here tomorrow.
I think Turk's gonna slam a hand down on the table and say, "Who's the buyer?"
I don't know. The posting was signed with initials. I assumed they would be at the docks.
I'm sorry. You don't know where the drop point is?
You think they would post it publicly and tell the militia where the drop point is?
So we didn't know what it was. We didn't know where it was. We didn't know who wanted it. And now we don't know how to get rid of it. Is that right?
You're acting like we didn't know this before.
We assumed you knew who it was at least.
I would have
or where
told
to
you.
find them.
When have I ever kept anything from you?
Do you think the same place where you saw the posting? Or was put public? I mean, hey, this person was gutsy enough, we'll say, to put it public. Maybe now that it's pretty clear someone has it, or at the very least something happened at the Capitol, maybe they'll post some cryptic shit back on that board or spread it around the Whisper Network.
Maybe it was the fucking militia that posted it.
Well, joke's on them because we have it now.
Yeah, but,
Yeah, but what if it was just to get all the rats out? Should have known 100 fucking coin.
Great.
If it was just a ploy to get the rats out, there wouldn't have been an actual thing there. Though, fuck, maybe, because I think it's more than just a ploy. Turk? What's going on in there?
Look, I don't know how things normally work. But if
About
it's
like
right.
this.
If you want to know what's going on in here, I think we're all going to be lucky if we make it through the night.
Well, we used it. We used it once, right? All that light that threw everyone back. Maybe if we can figure out how to do that again, we can set a trap, clear a path, something. That's all I can think of to do, honestly. I don't know what else we're supposed to do. Everyone's gone. Everyone that we're supposed to talk to is gone. And we're hurt and tired and hungry and I don't know what to do anymore.
Look, I've worked some security details for some pretty wealthy and important people. They would have to be to pay out something like this. So, what were the initials?
KB.
I assume that doesn't mean anything obvious to me.
No, it doesn't really ring anything for anyone. But Harlow goes over to your jacket, pulls the cube out of the pocket, and tosses it over to Effet. Why don't you take a look at that? See what you can figure out. Just be careful. Light pours out the window. Someone's definitely gonna know we're here.
Harry. I'm not sure this would be the right roll for this, but could I roll survey on Harlow?
Sure.
Is there a buyer?
Okay. I see. Yeah, go ahead and roll that.
Okay. 5.
I'm gonna send you a message.
Effet's gonna take the cube and start like flipping it over in their hands, not unlike how people in our world flip Rubik's cubes. Not really trying to move anything, but just trying to get like a sense of pattern recognition, a sense of what pieces are like, what runes or symbols are where, what's going on with it. And then can I roll a tune since I did like the vibes on it earlier? Can I roll a tune to try to understand it more?
Yeah, go for it.
And I push myself and take 2 stress. Effet is kind of looking down at it like they did with the trap there. There we go. And like little wisps are kind of like coming out of their mouth as they mouth things. And one of their ears starts to bleed a little bit. But I got a 6.
Okay. As you are turning this thing in your hands, you are noticing while it's a cube, there are not symbols on every side. You see there are symbols on 5 of the sides. The bottom, or what you would assume is the bottom based on all of those symbols, is like lead. It just seems like a completely lead bottom, no symbols, completely flat, and each symbol is something different. As you're kind of spinning it around, it's very dull. It's just a gray box right now. But as you're focusing on it, one of the symbols specifically as your thumb touches it, kind of brushes against it, you just see a little pulse of blue. And then it stops. And for now, that's all you really get from this.
It's got like a heavy base. There's only 5 symbols. Can I run my thumb over it again and see if it lights up just at contact every time?
Yeah, just that same one.
Yeah.
Yeah. Every time you brush your thumb against it.
This one reacts
Pulsing.
to touch. I don't know what the other ones do. They're all different. I mean, it's. Are there any like places to depress on it, places to shift it, pieces that I can pull out?
You're not finding any.
I don't know. It's a shiny cube and it's heavy, and then if you touch this one, it lights up. It's not. I don't know what it is yet. And I'll kind of put it on its base and slide it back toward Harlow and let her like rub her thumb over the shiny one. And
Okay, Harlow grabs onto it and finds the one that you were touching, and it's not working.
which is that the right one? Are you sure?
I mean, it's this one, right? And you see as she's turning it towards you, she's brushing against the one that you were brushing against, but the one that her finger is on the other side is lighting up.
Wait. Turn it. Other side.
Oh. And as she touches that one, it pulses with that blue light.
Hold on. Give it to Fishy. Give it to Fishy.
Tosses it.
What am I supposed to do with this thing? And we see that Fishgut has been in the background poring over those documents, kind of muttering to herself, I don't know how many important fancy KBs can there be in this city. Maybe one of them shipped something in or out, or signed a document, or works at the Capitol. At the very least, the people in these forms probably know that shit. Oh shit. This thing exists.
Yeah.
What am I supposed to do with it?
Just touch one of the symbols. Touch all of them and see which one lights up.
Yeah, and
Fishgut will
as
just
you're
do what
kind
she's
of moving around, you do find one of them that lights up at your touch, a different one than the one Harlow and Ephid have touched.
Gracie now. Give it to Gracie.
You're up. And Fishgut, kind of looking at this thing quizzically, will toss it back to Gracie and then look back through the documents.
Yeah, I'll manhandle it.
There's only
Yeah.
2 left.
A different one lights up at your touch.
I'll
Turk.
hold it out to Turk.
There's only one left. Just test it.
What is gonna happen? Like, I'm going last here. Is it gonna blow up?
I don't know,
Better
Again?
than us. That was a joke. That was a bad joke. I'm sorry. I'm not that sorry.
He will very dramatically hold the cube out, raise one finger, and then very purposefully touch the last remaining symbol.
Yeah, that last one lights up at your touch.
Okay. Put it on the table. Put it on, or the floor. Let's just put it on the floor.
Drop it.
Evid sat down and has not stood up again. So they're just gonna scoot their way over and beckon everyone over. Okay, everyone just try to touch theirs at the same time. Let's just see what happens.
Point of order, should we get some blankets or something? It's gonna be real bright if it shines.
Harlow rips the blanket from the couch, dust goes everywhere, and she's like, oh, sorry. I was trying to be dramatic, and goes to put it over everybody.
Okay, ready? 1, 2, 3.
The blue lights kind of pulse and then dim again, and there's this moment where you're like, ah, man. But then you see the blue light, you almost feel the blue light. As your finger, you can't actually pull it away from the cube anymore, and you see the blue light begin lighting up your finger itself and kind of moving up. It moves into your hand. It feels tingly, like when your hand falls asleep. This blue light is kind of wrapping around and then crawling up your arm, and all of you, you're unable to let go of this cube. You see the cube itself glows just a little bit. It's not as bright as when it exploded, but you see it is glowing, and your hand has kind of disappeared in the brightness of it, but you see the blue light is just moving, crawling up your arm, and there's this moment of panic, and some of you are probably talking or yelling, but as you're looking around at each other, you see your mouths moving, but no sound is happening. You just hear the light in your ears, and there's this moment of panic. Harlow is looking to everyone and trying to push off of this. Harlow brings one foot up to even try to push off of this cube.
If it is giggling silently, just like enamored with whatever the hell's going on.
Turk is saying, I don't like this, over and over and over again.
Wide-eyed, what the fuck? What the fuck? I'm trying to pull away.
And Fishgut is looking at Efed, kind of watching their expression, and seems to be not as tickled by it, but pleased that, their little one is tickled by this.
And the light, it doesn't grow any brighter, but then it just suddenly stops. And anyone who was pulling away, it's like when you're playing tug of war and the other person lets go. So Harlow like flings off in the opposite direction. I think a couple of you probably kind of like push back just a little bit. The box is no longer holding you and it's no longer lit up.
What the
fuck was that?
That was so cool, though.
It would be cool if I knew what the fuck it was.
No one's gonna buy it if we broke it.
I don't think it's broken.
It's not doing the thing anymore.
Well, maybe it ran out of energy. Maybe we have to charge it.
Wait. And Harlow's like touching her nose. And Turk, your arm doesn't hurt anymore. Gracie, any wounds that you had from the fight are healed up?
I don't think I've had this few bruises since I was 12.
It's like a Healy box.
Huh.
That's pretty cool, actually.
I can see why someone want to pay so much for it.
See why the militia wants it.
Yeah.
Wait, why is every symbol only for us, though? Do you think if we got 5 other people and they all touched it, same thing would happen to them?
I mean, probably. That makes more sense than us being, special.
It's true. Yeah.
We should go down to the docks. Never mind.
Maybe in a couple days.
We don't have a couple of days. Like, they're sweeping the neighborhoods. They're gonna find us if we stay here.
Right. Maybe that Fishgut returns to the pile of papers and finds the one that had the drawing of the cube on it, where there were all the scribbles. Back in the kind of dark room, it was hard to make out anything through the scribbles, but she holds it up. Maybe there's something interesting in this. We've got a bit more time now. Fuck, can't use light. Maybe under the blanket, if...
I can try to make it do the light thing again with the cube. That might... Maybe they did some kind of like secret code that you can only see in the light of the cube or something. Or...
Maybe.
Come on, let's try it. And they'll like throw the blanket over Fishgut and pull the cube in and start just like touching on the symbol that they have come to think of as their symbol. And try to get some light enough for Fishgut to read.
Okay. I think through that, and like You can take a little bit of time also to kind of try to decipher some things. There are no secret messages hidden or anything like that, but you're able to kind of see through a lot of the scribbles. You recognize now the signature. You can't make out the whole name, but you know the first name starts with a K. Yeah, and the last name starts with a B. You're able to kind of, because you're looking for it, you can see that a little better. You also see that the cube wasn't the only thing in the order. You see there are a list. There are a number of items called bone charms. Also in this order. You've never heard of those before.
So underneath the blanket, we hear like a couple of sounds from Fishgut as she's trying to kind of read through this, and then kind of through the muffled fabric. I think we found our KB. They're into some freaky shit. Maybe, I don't know. Anyone know what the fuck a bone charm is?
My grandmother talked a lot about like old, ancient, like folklore things. Would I know anything about bone charms?
You would not. I think the closest thing that you, like, something you might connect it to are like, reading the bones.
Yeah.
That's the closest thing. I will tell you as a player that is not what those are, but that would probably be where your mind would go.
Yeah, Evan will probably start talking about like reading the bones and how people would use like chicken bones or like just different kinds of bones and grow them and try to tell the future. And definitely goes off down like a path that maybe not everyone is interested or wants to listen to.
Well, it could certainly be that. I don't know what the fuck a bone charm is, but it was something they scribbled out on the sheet of paper, so they didn't want other people to find him. But Turk, looks like the KB from the memo signed this. So, working theory is maybe the person works for the Capitol. They found out about the item because it got shipped, decided, hey, what if I make it mine and hire a bunch of schmucks to go do it? Just a thought.
Talented schmucks.
There you go.
How'd they think they were going to get it?
Schmucks.
Yeah,
and
no, but like, once the
Fishgut just
schmucks...
mentions motions to the room.
I'm clear on the fact that we are said schmucks, but how did they think they were going to get it if all they posted was like a reward value and not how to get it to them?
Well, I have a thought.
Once the schmucks get caught, where'd they put anything that got taken off of them? Some kind of lockup or something?
They probably put this thing back where they found it. It's not exactly unobtrusive.
But right away? Because, like, if it moves out of a basement into some lockup, it'd be easy enough to pick it out.
So you're suggesting this is a setup? The point was always for whoever steals it to get caught. It's not a bad theory.
Or maybe get tailed.
Just for the record, Gracie is in the window.
Yeah.
They didn't count on the talented part of the talented schmucks, because I don't think we were followed.
I haven't seen anything.
Sure would be convenient if, the buyer just like knocked on the door right now. Pauses for a second.
Yeah, there's a moment where everybody pauses and Harlow kind of glances over to the door. Nah, that would have been too easy.
That actually would have been really cool.
Yeah.
Fishgut will start going through the papers a little bit more. She's specifically looking for names, not signatures, like typed names anywhere, or maybe printed names below a signature line. And she's looking for a name, any name that's KB in it. Maybe trying to, because she can't decipher the signature. at all. It's a bit of a crapshoot, but she's hoping that maybe something shows up in
Okay.
here.
As you're looking at that, Harlow kind of walks over to the closet that she sort of stayed in, and you see she pushes her sleeping bag away and begins prying at one of the planks of wood that make up the floor in here. And as she pries that up, you see a big portion of these wood planks that her and Ephid have probably kind of worked to stick together do come up. And this is something Turk probably hasn't seen before yet. She kind of pushes it up and she points to it. If we hear someone come in, it's going to be a tight squeeze with 5 of us. But this is where we're hiding. And she closes it but doesn't recover it. Gracie, what does it look like out there?
What does it look like out there?
You still see swarms of militia.
Yep. We ain't getting out of here nowhere fast.
Great.
Maybe tomorrow, if we make it to tomorrow, we can draft up our own notice. I mean, we can't go to them, maybe they can come to us. We, I don't know, Fishy, you're good at all the word stuff. We somehow say that we got it, and we set up a meet in a not obvious way. You know how to make things sound good, right? And then we just post it where the other thing was posted, and then they have to come to us. Doesn't help us right now, but that's in the, in case we make it through the night.
Look, I'm not saying this is the best option, but what if we sell it back to them?
Back to
Plus
the capital.
they're looking for it. Maybe we could make some kind of deal. At the very least, we could maybe not get, shot a lot. Maybe they'd like to know that whoever this KB person is, they were trying to steal something that they requisitioned.
If you can tell us a way to communicate with those assholes, then maybe, but any of us get within 50 feet of that building and we're fucked.
Yeah, they tend to shoot first and ask questions later.
Yeah, I mean, I'm aware.
I'd
What if we-
rather.
I mean,
if we
but I'm
just
just saying we
survive
wouldn't
the
have to
night?
do it in person. We could like deliver a letter or something like that. Communicate through that.
I mean, if we're gonna do that, we may as well do what F had said. We post a thing with proof of finding it or whatever, somehow, and then it's you do what you do best, Finn, and we have ourselves a parlay somewhere.
Honestly, I'd rather work, or try to, anyways, work with whoever made the posting than the Capitol. They're at the very least willing to operate outside of whatever bullshit rules the Capitol's saying are the rules today. I think it's a good plan. Or at least it's the best we've got right now.
First things first, we need to make it through the night. If they've captured people, they could potentially tell them where we are. Who all knows about this place? And she looks at Fishgut. Who all from the docks knows?
I don't tell the kids where we are. They don't, we talk through notes most of the time. It's honestly mostly for their own good. Well, Carter's still got a bad idea in their head, but it's mostly so none of them show up and try to do what we do. We should be good, at least from them.
And no one else knows, right? And Harlow looks to Gracie, Turk, and Ephid.
You
You're
know
the
I
only
don't
one I talk
people.
to.
Mhm.
Gracie stares at Turk.
You've been followed before, Turk?
Pretty sure if I'd been followed before, I'd be dead.
That's a fair point, actually.
Okay, if nobody knows, then I think we're good to stay here. At least to get some sleep.
I would love some sleep. I'm so tired.
Gracie grabs a rag of some variety and like just loads it with water and throws it at Harlow. At least get the blood off your face.
Harlow catches it and then just immediately starts just wiping. Now that there's no wound there and it doesn't hurt, she can just scrub it off too. I'll take watch first. Get some rest.
Gracie stands up from her post, and then as she goes to like go into her corner or whatever, she looks back at Harlow and says, "You back down to 2." Just goes to bed.
Vid curls up in a corner, back against the wall, just like facing wherever Fish Gut is. If she's like further away, just like trying to keep an eye on her at the very least.
Fish Gut paces for a bit. She's definitely awake through the first watch. Going through the papers again, trying to keep her mind off of the kids and whatever else is going on at the Capitol, and will eventually pass out, just kind of probably against the wall near Ephod.
I think Turk takes his normal quarter and sort of pulls the hat down over his eyes like he has a million times before, but is very nervously playing with the dented coin for pretty much the entire night.
Okay.
I think Effet is also like scooped the box and has it like cuddled up like a teddy bear almost.
We can't sell it. Effet likes it.
Just gotta keep it safe until we find someone to sell it to.
There is this quiet, as probably for the first at least hour, nobody is actually asleep. It takes a lot longer to wind down from this than you were expecting, and you still just occasionally feel a little tingle in your hand from the light. But eventually, most of you fall asleep. For a few hours at least. You hear the creaks of the old building, and I think towards the end of like 3 hours, the camera sees that the militia patrol are kind of thinning out a little bit. Many are beginning to head back, but about half of them are still dispersing through the city. And I think it's Turk's decision if he's still awake, but I think the other 3 have fallen asleep at this point when the sound of the door downstairs kind of hits whatever is blocking it. And Harlow just freezes and listens for a second. You hear the sound of it being kind of pushed, shoved away. Footsteps coming in. And Harlow very, very slowly and quietly begins moving because these floorboards, they creak. just moves ever so slightly. I think is probably closest to Fishgut. Just touches like a shoulder, just pats. And as your eyes are opening, holds her hand to her lips and points to the place to take cover.
Can we tell how many people it is? Like, by the sounds of the footsteps?
At least 3. Harlow then kind of like crawls very tenderly over to Ephid. I don't think Harlow like touches your shoulder. I think Harlow moves to cover your mouth. And as you wake up and points, she glances over at Turk. Does Turk make a sign that he is still awake?
Yeah, I think when Harlow looks over, his head is up. Still got the hat pulled forward, but he's like got his pistol in his hand, and he looks over at Harlow and just holds up 3 fingers.
Harlow nods, and as Fishgut and Ephid are kind of moving for the place to take cover, she then goes over and taps Gracie's knee, nods.
She'll make her way very carefully over, but not get in yet. Waiting for the other 2.
As you're all moving quietly, you hear the creaking. You hear they're not being quiet. They're kind of just shoving things out of the way downstairs, looking through some stuff. Their voices you can hear pretty clearly just because it is so quiet everywhere else. You do hear one of them say, "It doesn't look like anyone's been here for a while." "Yeah, you're probably right. We should check upstairs, though." "Yeah, all right." And you hear footsteps that they're not in a rush. They truly don't think anybody is here, casually starting to make their way upstairs.
Yeah, Fishgut will press into the very back of the cupboard, trying to kind of standing up, pressing, making herself as small as possible.
Ephid will do the same and kind of like lay their crutches down kind of along one of the walls so that they don't fall or they won't make any noise if someone bumps them.
Gracie's last in.
Yeah, I think Gracie and Harlow were kind of helping like position everybody in good enough, and the 2 of you are the last ones in, kind of pulling the cover over. And as it seals, there's absolutely no light in here. And you hear, almost as soon as the cover is dropped, the door open to the upstairs. You hear the footsteps. Dust is kind of like coming down in the cracks, kind of falling into your face. You have to kind of blink it away. You hear 2 people walk in. They're looking around. And well, I mean, this looks recent enough, maybe. And you hear the sound of a kick. There's one of the Peaches cans kind of clatters. I mean, it's still wet. Yeah, I don't know. Are you sure this is where they said? Yeah, I'm pretty sure. They said the description of the crew matched. Huh. I don't know, maybe... they probably weren't stupid enough to come back here. And you hear a little, like, from Harlow. Yeah, maybe. You're sure they got away with the item? That's what they were saying. What was that fucking thing, anyway? Fuck if I know. Alright, well... I don't know, look in, like, the closet and shit. That could just be hiding. And you hear the 2 of them spread out to different areas of the room. You hear footsteps directly above you, looking in the closet that Harlow usually stays in. You hear just stuff being scooted around, trash. You hear the sound of like them kind of tapping the walls to see if there are any hidden areas in the walls themselves. Yeah, I'm not finding anything. What about you? You guys are lucky as fuck. I'm rolling awful.
Had to
They
turn at
step
one point.
Mhm.
they step over. The floor creaks just a little bit right above you, and the camera sees them kind of look down. They do stomp on the floor a little bit, but they're stomping like right where the actual floor begins instead of where this false floor is. Yeah, I don't know. Lead was bad, I guess. All right, well, let's try the next one. And the two of them head for the door. You wait and you listen. You hear them head down the stairs. You hear them reconvene with a third person. No, there was nobody up there. Damn it. Oh, come on, it's been a long fucking night. You hear them leave. You hear the door close. We
Lift it
see,
up.
yeah, we see the floor lift up, be pushed over, and all of you climb out.
Did anyone recognize any of those voices?
I'm assuming no.
So,
Yeah, me neither.
dummies.
Fuck. Who knows where we are?
I mean, it could have been any of the kids from the docks, right?
They don't know where we are. They shouldn't.
Blame the kids.
We could have been tailed at one point. We've been here for a couple weeks, so maybe.
We're so careful. We're so careful.
Maybe someone's more careful.
Yeah. Well, we had to move before. We definitely have to. Well, I don't think we're here.
Yeah, they've
so-
cleared the building now.
They said themselves they didn't think we'd be stupid enough to come back here, so. They're overestimating us, which is also very useful.
Yeah, you know what? This actually just became a pretty good place to stick around for a bit longer.
Yeah. I think if we'd like to, we can get some more. And you watch a bullet rip through Harlow's chest from behind. Another gunshot fires through the window too, shatters glass, but whizzes past you and slams into the wall on the other side.
Get the cube thing. It healed you earlier. We can try it again now, and Harlow will be fine.
Gracie's putting pressure.
Yeah, Harlow falls. You immediately catch Harlow, and you see two people come down from the rooftop, much like Kirk did before, slam down into the windows. They bust out the glass with their elbows, and they're aiming in at you, and they say, "Nobody fucking move!" And at this point, we're gonna go into a little flashback. Will, do you want to set the scene for us?
Sure. Yeah. Okay. What we see, I think, is a bedroom. It is a very fancy, expensive looking bedroom. There is a large four-poster bed in the middle of it, taking up most of it. A lot of very rich looking decorations and items scattered around the room. Some pieces, some artwork hanging on the walls. The only real, it's hard to make out any other details, I think, because the only real source of light is a very dimly lit lantern, with the flame turned down really low on a bedside table. And I think there is maybe someone moving around the room. It's hard to make out many details about them, but I think in that large, fancy four-poster bed, there is a shirtless and maybe moreless Turk Hancock, just kind of up on his elbows, looking around the room.
Yeah, I think the camera focuses on a small pouch of coin that is then set on the bedside table next to you. I know your job situation's gotten a little complicated.
Yeah, you're not just going to be able to request me for guard detail anymore. I guess I'm between places at the moment. He looks
Okay.
over at the bag of coin and says, "How soon do you think you're going to need services rendered again?"
She goes over to her like little writing desk that she has over there. She pulls up some paper and kind of brings it over, sets it down on the bedside table. Probably sooner rather than later. Do you have an address?
He will pause for a second, look at the bag of coin, look at the paper and the pen, and kind of shrug and say, "Customer's always right." And we'll write down an address.
Okay. And the camera kind of focuses on the address, and then we see the street sign, and we see the 3-story building that is currently being swarmed with militia members. But then we flash to another scene. We see only maybe an hour after Perk was spotted in the alleyway, running, getting away from all of these militia, getting away from the Capitol building. We see the 2 guards in the alleyway. One of them shot, dead. The other one concussed, head slammed up against the building. The other guards rush forward, and they're checking. One's definitely dead. They're helping the other one up. One of them just looks up. It was fucking Hancock. And then we hear a knock on a door. And we see this same woman. We see Elena Thorpe answering the door. Middle of the night, she's, in a robe, a nightgown. "Can I help you?" "Yeah, we're looking for Turk Hancock. Has he stopped by here?" "No, why would he stop by here?" "Look, we know, he was..." And one of them kind of motions and looks to the other one, and the other one just says, "Requested, by you a lot." "What are you implying?" "Look, ma'am, we're trying to be respectful. We just need to know where Turk is. Is he in some kind of trouble?" "Yes, we have reason to believe his life is in danger." "What kind of danger? I thought you guys were done with him." "Well, ma'am, he was more done with us. But, we, still find him quite useful. And we really need to know where he is." "I'm sure we don't need to bring your father into this." Asshole. And she turns around and heads over to the desk. Opens a drawer, is looking around a little bit, grabs onto the address, goes over, slams it into this person's chest. He grabs onto it, shares it with someone else. "Thank you, ma'am. You've been very helpful. Good night." And she closes the door. And now we flash back to the scene at hand. The militia members shouting, "Nobody fucking move!"
I'd like to push them out the window.
gun out. I mean, I had my gun out already. I think it was sort of in his hands the entire time that we were hiding down there. Just one of the revolvers, and gonna point it at the window in case they don't get pushed out. And I think also maybe call out over his shoulder as he does so. If you can make that thing explode, this would be a really good time.
Ephid has taken Gracie's. As soon as Gracie starts to move, Ephid's going to take Gracie's place, just like putting their hands over Harlow's injury. And I think they're going to just start whispering in that other language again. Not fully committed to it yet, but ready in case plan A and plan B fail.
Where was the box?
I was sleeping with it, so it's probably in my pocket or something.
In that case, I think Fishgut's gonna also follows Ephid over to where Harlow is and will like reach into their pocket and kind of pull it out and is like holding on to it, like looking at it, trying to make something happen. I don't know. We can't make it do the healing thing unless everybody's touching it. But do you know how Harlow made it glow? That could help.
The symbol on the top, that one's theirs.
Fishgut will turn it so that Harlow symbol's on the top, and then also try to like press it into her stomach.
So we see Fishgut and Ephid crouched by Harlow. Turk's gun comes up. Gracie pushes through and is trying to push everyone out. Go ahead and make a roll, Gracie.
That's a 6. I think pushing herself looks like reckless abandon, that she's prioritizing getting them out the window, not herself not getting out the window, if you understand me. But she'd like to like clothesline both of them and just throw them out and follow them if she has to.
Yeah, I think you rush out, slam into both of them. All of you hear the impact as you've slammed into them. They both hit the railing of just the little like balcony area that is just outside this window. They hit the railing and flip over, both of them, and are just tumbling down. And you are standing there, you're able to catch yourself on the railing, but then you hear another crack of the rifle, and you feel a bullet slam into your torso, and you stumble backwards and slam back into the window itself. You look up, you see one militia member with a rifle on another rooftop, and then on a secondary rooftop, another one, and they are currently aiming at you as well. What's the next move?
They scoot back, holding whatever, wherever, and just look over at Turk and say, "Range ain't my deal. Go," and go with the other two. Actually, start heading down the stairs because I have a guess.
You gotta heal.
Can't heal if we're dead.
I think Turk is going to move forward when Gracie falls back and is going to take a deep breath. Doesn't have time to grab the rifle, so he just has a revolver in his hand, and I think he's going to try to do something impossible by pushing himself as well. So I'm going to use my sharpshooter special ability, which lets me make ranged attacks at extreme distances beyond what's normal for the weapon, and can also unleash a barrage of rapid fire. So I think I'm going to bring the revolver up and try to shoot both of them with a revolver.
Hell yeah. Love that. So you are bringing that revolver up. Go ahead and roll for that. Gracie, as you open up the door, you begin to sprint down, and you meet in the stairs 3 other guards coming up at the same time. I think it's as they're turning up and you're turning down, you almost run into each other.
Tackling on the stairs.
Beautiful. Turk, what was that roll?
That was a 6.
Amazing.
I think Turk doesn't even really have time to think about it. Like, Gracie gets shot. I think the whole time that he is like, as he brings the gun up, and then as Gracie falls back and he starts to move forward, anybody who's paying attention, which might absolutely be nobody at this point, he's just saying under his breath, like, no, 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 this wasn't supposed to happen. This wasn't supposed to happen. And moves towards the window, doesn't have time to think at all, just kind of brings the revolver up and shoots once, shoots twice.
Crack.
Yep.
And you watch both of the rifles fall almost at the same time, tumbling off the side of the building. And as we see that, and we see Turk kind of turn back in to glance at Effet and Fishgut, what are the two of you doing?
Given that we hear Gracie on the stairs, that's an area. Is there a chance that I can just collapse in the sides of the staircase to hit the people that are coming after Gracie? Or that are going up toward Gracie, I guess?
I will say yes, but
Classic.
you have to have line of sight, so you'll have to move into the staircase to do it.
Okay, then I'll grab Fishgut's hands and put them where mine were, and then I'll just start like scrabbling my way, like to the point that as long as I have line of sight, I'm going. Like it's not even gonna be like not a good line of sight. It's just line of sight, go.
Okay.
Yeah, the whispers start in the language again. Little wisps of something start coming out of their mouth. But that's a 6, so we're good.
Amazing. So, Gracie, you move forward, slam into one of them, kind of catch yourself on the railing. That person slams into the other person. They stumble for a moment, but the third one kind of catches them, pushes them back forward, and as they are moving forward, we see Effet pop into the stairwell. What does this look like?
The wisps kind of like curl around Gracie, like almost backlighting her until they're past, and as they pass, they kind of come in and look like they're like rapidly decaying the floorboards on either side of the stairwell. And at one point, and at a certain point, they become so decayed, and then the whispery little wisps just kind of crash inward. And like, I don't know if you guys saw the movie Monster House, but at one point the door opens and it's like that, but sideways.
I think there's a moment that surprises you as well, Effet. And Fishgut, you are holding this cube, and nothing is happening. It's not doing what you want it to do. You're trying to hold onto Harlow's wound. You're looking at her face. She's blinking, but she's barely there. And then you hear Effet in the hallway releasing something. And Effet, you see, as that is beginning to crash in, you no longer see wisps. You see almost like blue sparks kind of arc out in the walls themselves and then crush inward with a force that you weren't quite expecting. It almost seems supercharged in a way. And as that happens, Fishgut, you see Effet's sigil glow bright and then fade. But before you can address this, Fishgut, Harlow grabs onto your wrist and is looking up. We gotta get the fuck out of here. We can't stay here. If they know we're here, more will come. We can't fight all of them.
No, you're right. Do we still have the ropes set up on the back porch? It's not worth it. Remember the time we used the ropes for a mission and then didn't put them back up? Okay, but we didn't do that this time. I'm gonna drag your ass out the back, and then we're gonna get you healed, okay?
Just nodding, eyes closed. You see, even though you're holding the wound, you can still almost see, like, the blood push through with each pulse.
We should heal now. We should heal now. Gracie's shot too, and Harlow's shot, and we stopped them for now. We should heal now.
But didn't we need everybody for that?
Well, then get everyone over here.
Hey, we need to get out of here.
You hear crashing through the front door again.
We need to go.
Never
We're
mind.
going down the porch.
I'm running up the stairs. and trying to evaluate probably Harlow, I just lift her up.
We should try the thing, right? I don't know how long it takes.
We don't have time for this. Turk, I think, is going to try the same strategy we did in the basement. He's going to grab his rifle on the way out the door of the room that we're in and just kind of like take up a position at the top of the staircase and try to pick people off as they start trying to scale the debris. Basically just convince them that this is a bad idea.
Fuck. Okay, let's go. And Fishgut will start kind of moving towards the porch, which is, you know, like a little, what might have been a patio or what might have been an outdoor deck back when this building was in much better shape than it is now. But now it's a couple of, I think, iron bars that have ropes attached to them and Allmark climbing gear along with it. So like enough rope to have tied a couple of Swiss seats, enough ropes to have tied some like descending locking knots that allow you to actually like jump into a small shitty rope harness and then just kind of shoot down the rope. And Fishgut's like starting to get that ready for folks who aren't able to like climb down the ropes themselves, which would include herself and definitely Harlow at this moment in time.
Fastest way to get down is to jump out of a window.
Yeah,
I don't
we
want to
know
hear
that.
that is.
And then the slowest way to get up is with 2 fucking broken ankles. Use the goddamn ropes.
I'll arrange it in such a way that I can assist everybody getting down, whether that means like lowering Harlow and Ephid, whether that's carrying people, like whatever is quickest.
Okay. To see how this is going to play out, I would like for Turk to make a roll for seeing how well picking people off is going.
Do that with Hunt if I can.
Yeah.
6.
Okay. As people are, as soon as someone comes through, you're not even seeing faces, you're not seeing people, you're just seeing problems. And one shot after the other. I think you get 2 people before someone kind of like stops and holds up against the wall itself. And I think even seeing that, you just adjust your aim a little bit and shoot through the wall. And you hear just the sound and the person kind of falling down. And you hear downstairs, no good, get him from outside, and people are starting to move. They're no longer coming in through this door. That's when you can turn and begin to use the ropes as well. Where do these ropes take you? Just to the ground level, or are they like a zipline situation to take you to a different area?
Ooh, I like zipline.
Zipline sounds good.
Okay, so I think it's a zipline that goes like straight through the next building, and that building's been like bombed and fired out, and the rope just goes straight through, and then there's another building on the other side. Maybe it takes us down to the 2nd floor of that, so we go from the 3rd floor of our building through a even more busted building down to the 2nd floor of a building that we probably haven't been in a while, but hey, it's better than where we're at now.
So who was first?
I would send Finn and then Harlow, or strap you 2 together or something.
You can strap me and Harlow together, that's fine.
Okay. So I think Finn will jump in to start first. It only takes her about 20 seconds to take a length of about 15 feet of rope and tie Harlow into a very specific climbing thing called a Swiss seat. It's often known as a rescue, or it's a type of rescue rope. It hurts like a bitch to wear because it puts all of your weight on your pelvis, but it's better than getting shot again. So she ties her into that, and then we'll kind of help Ephid with the same thing, or maybe they do their own rope.
Yeah, Ephid will probably tie their own. Like, it's a really shitty, like, basic harness, just enough that they can, like, hold on to Harlow.
You make sure the rest of them come after me, all right?
I got it.
Finn will check the ropes on Harlow and then Ephid one last time. before clipping themselves into the zip line and then jumping off the porch.
I'll wait
Fantastic.
10, 15 seconds and then send the two after, and then like do that whistle. I will not do it. For Turk to get gone.
I think in this case, Turk was like standing by the stairs, still like gun trained. It's gonna say, "I'm last this time. Go."
Fine. And then down.
Okay. Fishgut, I would like for you to roll survey for me.
All right, that's a 4.
Okay. You go through the empty building. And as you crest out of that empty building and you are heading towards the building that you know you will land in, you see, you look up. You just happen to glance up and you see militia hopping over the rooftops to head in the direction of your building. One of them glances down and sees you as you disappear into the building itself. Gracie, as Turk says, "I'm last this time," you hook onto the zip line and begin pushing through. As you're going, you are going into the empty building as you see Ephid and Harlow exiting out of the empty building on the other side. And then, Turk, as you are turning to get onto the zip line, you can see 2 militia members jumping over onto this porch from the other rooftop. One of them brings their gun up to train it at you. The other one brings a knife up and slams it down on the zip line. Ephid, Harlow, and Gracie all feel the line let go. Fishgut, you had just landed in the building. Gracie, you slam down into the abandoned building. Ephid and Harlow, you had made it through. You slam into the wall and fall down and then slam hard into the alley.
I try to put myself under Harlow so that she doesn't get any more hurt.
Roll finesse.
Is this a situation where I can push myself?
I will say yes, but if you still fail, it's going to be really bad.
I'll let it. I mean, it's a 1, so fuck it, it's worth it. I rolled another 1.
You hear 2 cracks. One definitely comes from Harlow. The other one definitely comes from your left arm. Your upper arm snaps as that is where most of Harlow's weight landed. And you feel the crack and you don't have breath for a second and then you're able to breathe in and cough. Your ears are ringing. Dust has come up.
Harlow, we got him. And I'm like, if it's just like shaking Harlow, like, we gotta go.
Yeah, you're pushing Harlow, push her over. She rolls onto her back. She's not moving.
Harlow, we gotta go. Come on, get up. Wake up.
Am I here yet? Dying.
You have crashed into the floor. You're rolling, trying to get up, coughing. Dust is everywhere. Perk, you have the 2 people, the 2 militia guards standing next to you. Fishgut, you have landed. You look over and you look up just in time to kind of catch eyes with Ephid for a brief moment before they just plummet down to the ground. You're able to like rush over, look out the window. You see Ephid rolling Harlow over and shaking her. Gracie, you rush over to the window on your side of the building, look over, you see the same thing. I think Gracie and Fishgut meet eyes from across the way for a moment, but then we're going to cut over to Turk.
I think Turk lets the rifle fall to his feet. He puts his hands up and he says, "We sold it, but I'll tell you where you can find it."
God damn it, Carrie.
It's 3 p.m., Carrie. Can't kill somebody at 3 p.m.
I just killed Harlow. Cool.
Cool.
In your
Cool
defense, I
box.
think Carrie's trying to kill Harlow.
Evan doesn't know they're in a game.
That's true.